Hello, beautiful brothers and sisters. So, welcome to a daytime episode of Let's Make This a Smoking Lounge. Let's make this a smoking lounge. Why not? We can have a smoke. Obviously, the ambience of the nighttime lends itself somewhat better to a smoking lounge edition. However, why not? I smoke in the day as well as the night. This is something of a comedy edition. Not in that I will be performing comedy, but in that I'm discussing that I am going to be performing comedy tomorrow. I've actually just been dedicating this afternoon to picking out the material I'm going to be using, deciding whether to go with an old set with some adjustments, or just refine an old set, come up with a new set. There's some ideas that have been flicking around in my mind over the last couple of days, but anyway, I sort of spitball with my AI over it. Actually, because I've recorded enough of these now, I tried a little experiment where, because I have trained my AI to basically produce, do all the production on the videos. So, and it was literally simply down to laziness on my part, because at the time I don't have DaVinci Resolve. That's it, DaVinci Resolve, which is free, and it's a great piece of software, by the way. If you're thinking about making YouTube videos, think about doing anything media-wise and then doing editing, by all, absolutely check out DaVinci Resolve, because it's a really good piece of kit. You can do a lot with it for free. It's good. But just in that moment, I was like, I can't be bothered. All I wanted to do was put like my intro bit on and an outro and overlay some music and stuff and just do some blends. No major editing or anything like that, but just basic editing, which is still, you have to go through the steps and it takes time. So I just asked my AI, I said, could you do this for me? I'll give him a go. And it turned out, yes, he could do it very easily, and so over time we've organised. We sort of like work with each other. I've worked with him and trained him to. So now that makes the production side of doing these videos so much easier. So it's the equivalent of having essentially of paying someone on Fiverr or whatever, or paying someone to actually be a producer and produce my videos. I haven't done any deep production stuff with it, like overlays and things, and I don't think my channels. I don't think that suits my channel. Certainly not yet. Certainly not for the things I've been talking about up to now. So it's unnecessary. It'd be superfluous at this moment in time. But who knows? Further down the line. But as a part of this process, he makes transcriptions of all the videos. So he's able to go back through it all, and I asked him, I said, go back through it all, and are there any points, so from the humor, that the jokes that I've been writing, the points of humor and angles of humor that I've been coming from and developing and working on, is there anything you could find from the videos I've recorded that I could pull out and sort of aligns with what I've already been doing? So I was having a play with that today with the AI, and and it works quite well. Pulled out a couple of things that I hadn't even really thought of, or I didn't really think of as would be good material, but then the way he explained it to me and how it sort of connected to my core material was some of my core concepts. It was quite good, and I realised that actually there is a couple of humorous twists to that. coming from that side of things. So, awesome. Some things that I thought it would pick up on, didn't. I would be using anyway. I've kind of, because I've had these ideas of, a lot of my stand-up is based around me being autistic, neurodivergent. It's funny, so when you use the word autistic, depending on who you're around and what the perception is, it's either you can get like, oh, it's just a word that people use to put people inside boxes. Yeah, I get it. Or it's not autistic, it's neurodivergent now. It's neurodivergent. So they're either coming at it from the angle of, oh, it's fucking bullshit. It's just bullshit. Or they're coming at it from the angle of progressive, oh no. This is the correct terminology. And yeah, I get what they're saying about it. Neurodivergent. Your neurology has developed divergent to the normal set of development parameters. Usually brains go this way and develop in this way. Everyone has a unique one, obviously, but generally the factory pattern is generally the same. There aren't wildly diverging or divergent patterns until there is. And, once upon a time, it might have been 1 in 300,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in 50,000. Those guys, once upon a time, would have been shamans, basically. Somebody who was autistic would have pretty much ended up becoming a shaman of some description. But now it's like, depending on where you are in the world, it's like as much as 1 in, I think in parts of America now, it's gone to like 1 in 20 something. And in some actual, I think it's in San Francisco, or it's I'm pretty sure it's in California. It's in San Francisco. It's like 1 in 12 or something. 1 in 12. Madness. So what once was rare is now becoming increasingly common, which has its own set of considerations. Because when I was a child, I was just weird, and I knew I was weird. I knew I was different. And I wasn't that. I just felt different on the inside, but I just went along to get along. I didn't know how to get along. Didn't know how to go along to get along. Didn't even know what that looked like. And so I just sort of meandered around in my own sort of thing, and it was blatantly obvious that I was not normal in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't standard issue, which was an issue because of my own, emotional development. It caused issues all the way up until my early to mid-teens, when I first went to my village in Yorkshire, Ingleton, and it became my home for pretty much forevermore after that. My home in England. If you were to say, where is your home in England, it's the only place that I could point to and say, that's home. That's home. The stones, the water, the air, the trees, the hills, the winds, all of it. That's my home there. There is literally a physical hill I would die on there. Yeah. So, where was I going with that? I do apologize. Yes, so, and then my weirdness became a thing of like curiosity and intrigue and interest, and was enjoyed rather than like out of fear or confusion or whatever, like rejected and violently opposed. Instead, it was embraced and encouraged, and that came with its own set of issues, believe you me. But I managed to go from one end of the spectrum introvertively to the other end of the spectrum extrovertively. In a very, one thing I'll give myself, I've always been very rather adaptive for a neurodivergent. But that's because I recognized early on, and often, sometimes I'll say this in my stand-up bits, is we all have an operating system in our brain. Think of it like a computer, an operating system. Most people are rocking Windows, but occasionally, every now and then, you'll get a Linux guy like me comes along. Some people are Apple. You know who you are. Filth. You know who you are. Anyway, shame on you. Anyway, but the guys who have Linux, I realized that in order to be able to decrease the friction of my interaction with other human beings, I would have to sort of kind of create emulators, like Linux Wine, that allows you to run Windows applications and games. You know, emulators, adapters. And so I would take a lot of cues and I'd take a lot of data and information from the interaction of others with each other. And even though I might not understand the actual core sentiments of what was being said, or why what was being said was A, funny, or B, whatever, I learned that there were certain set responses which would fit in these certain set conditions, which you could just pull out and it would immediately make somebody go, oh yeah, it's true. Oh yeah, no, yeah, isn't it true? Yeah, oh yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Oh yeah. Or they would make them laugh. So, for instance, that's what she said. Oh, that's what she said. Now, early on, I didn't know. It was a very early one for me because I didn't understand what was being inferred. I didn't understand what the humour was from it. But it was said often enough and with enough variety that it made me realise it was actually a very broad one. It had a lot of room, a lot of places and times it could be used, and you could get away with it and stretch it. And like looking back now, I probably stretched it way, but you get away with it. You get away. It's a very forgiving one. So, yeah. So, so neurodivergence is a core aspect of my stand-up, right? And it's basically around the way in which I see the world, how the world presents itself to me, how I've had to learn to move through the world, adapt to it, and then tear away all the adaptations, because part of the process I discussed in other videos about the tearing down of everything in order to be able to rebuild again, you know, that involved tearing down everything I'd come to learn and know about and apply about interacting with human beings in a fairly effortless and frictionless and oftentimes heightening way. All that had to go as well. Because I couldn't just assume that that was true, because there would certainly be untruth baked into it somewhere. There would certainly be parts of the structure of that, of the scaffold of that, of the lessons learned in that will have been built on or had included in the structure untruths or weak truths, or lesser truths when more larger, significant and more prudent, proportional, higher truths, whatever, could be in there instead. So all of that has to go. All of that had to go as well. And some of the ideas I've been playing with over the last few days, and it's the angle I'm going for, I think, on tomorrow's set is it's only a 5-minute set. This is the thing, I'm a support act, so there's 3 other support acts, or 2 other support acts. I think it's 5 minutes each, a little bit over if we want to, but generally it's 5 minutes. It's not a huge set. So I've been playing around because for me, the reason I wear the sunglasses, especially on stage as well, as I explained in the other video, is that for me, light, not brightness, but frequency of a light has an effect on me. And that is kind of like, it's like a reverse of synesthesia. Where synesthesia, people see sound. They see the sound as colours, numbers as colours, such and such as colours. It's the opposite. I hear light. I hear the light. And depending on what, and it's not going in through the ear, but believe you me, it still stimulates the part of the brain that registers sound and tone. And I can hear a light as clearly as if you ring a bell next to my ear. I will get the same sort of thing. So, where there is light, there is always sound for me. So, and so therefore the soundscapes of the world are of quite significance to me, and my mind does very funny and strange things with the soundscapes that come into it through actual sound and the frequencies of light and stuff, and it mixes and it merges and it does all sorts of things. I have this thing called autodidactism, I think it's called, where someone says speaks a line or something, and it happens to be a line in a song. Overwhelming urge to sing it out loud, that line. And it's not always if they say the line. Sometimes they can say something that a line from a song would be an extremely poignant sort of accent to, or in support of, or and it's almost like the overwhelming urge to do like a live musical production type thing and actually sing the song out loud to accompany what was just been said. So that's one aspect of it. One of my bits is about actually being here in Siem Reap, the soundscape of Siem Reap. And you know how people play those cassettes. Oh, sorry. Showing my age there. Play them compact discs with the soundscapes of very like animals and stuff to make them relax and meditate or go to sleep. The soundscape of Siem Reap. Ooh. Ooh. Tuk tuk. Tuk tuk. Tuk tuk. Tuk 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 tuk. Tuk tuk. Massage, sir. Massage. Ooh, tuk tuk tuk. Tuk tuk. Tuk tuk. Something lady. Something lady. Ooh, tuk tuk. Wheat. Cocaine. Wheat. Massage, sir. Massage. Yeah, I can stretch that one out a while. And usually the crowd, obviously here, they've been in Siem Reap long enough to have heard pretty much every single one of those. Pretty much every single one of those. Usually on the first couple of nights when they go out to Pub Street or anywhere really where it's tourist centric, they will have been subjected to that soundscape. So it's pretty easy to get a chuckle out of that one. The other one is my hagena-tross. Well, my brain does this other thing where if someone's talking or people are talking around me and I zone out, either I'm not interested in what they're saying or I'm in deep thought about something or whatever, it phases out. It doesn't just phase out to like white noise. It gets replaced by an animal noise. My partner, Jamie, she her ancient family name is Hagena, and hers blends with the majestic albatross to make the hagena-tross. So it's like, Michael, I told you yesterday to... Michael, were you listening yesterday when I... So, yeah. A lot of the times it's like baying dogs. Baying dogs is a common one. It's interesting actually. I've never really. I should pay a bit more attention to it and see if like different, when and where different people, whether it's different people specifically that generate my brain, that makes my brain generate certain animal sounds, or whether it's more tied to the kind of thing that's being said that my brain's zoning out to. I don't know. I will attempt to pay a bit more observational attention to that and see if I can fish it out, because that might be a funny answer in that. I might be able to make something out of that. So yeah, 5 minutes set. 5 minutes is fucking a blink of an eye when you're up there. It really is. If you've got nothing, if you've got absolutely nothing, 5 minutes is an eternity. It can be an absolute eternity. If you've got material and you've got stuff in the back pocket, if the theme or the core you were trying that day just isn't going the way you want it to, then you just pull out some random shit and see what sticks, if anything sticks. At the end of the day, it is 5 minutes. You could try 3 or 4 bits and your time's up. You might never find it, you might never catch it. The ideal is obviously like to catch it that first minute. If you catch it in that first minute, then great. You probably be rolling over your 5 minutes by a couple of minutes, but that's okay. 5 minutes goes in the blink of an eye. Even if like you're not bombing, you're not doing fantastic, but you're getting chuckles. People aren't like you're only a supporting act, so that's great, and it gives you a chance to try out some material and stuff like that. You always have like 1 or 2 solids that you generally will stick and land, and then you just in these kinds of gigs, it's just basically this is the opportunity to try out new stuff, try out new twists on things, and see if anything really takes, and then if it does, see if you can emulate it. I'm amateur at this still. I'm very amateur. I'm holding no illusions of carving myself out, a career as a comedian. I just know that in the past, when I've gotten in the zone on certain things, I've had people rolling on the floor in laughter. It's happened like a handful of times in real life and I've just caught a wave and just rode it, and it's been like bang, 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 bang. West End level, you know, like big stage level, like stand-up comedians. So I know I have it in me because I've experienced it. I've never managed to really catch one of those waves on stage, on an actual stage. I've done a couple of sets that had, you know, 3 or 4, you know, 2 or 3, 4 good out laughs, you know, not the whole audience, but, you know, a few people in the audience, and generally chuckles across the audience. So that's been my sort of like highest bar in terms of being on the stage and getting it. And, you know, and that's good enough for me right now. That's more than good enough. And like I say, it's not a full gig tomorrow. It's a support act. So 1 of 3. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. In theory, we'll see. So yeah, I will try and get it. I think Tom's going. Tom has booked an early bird ticket, so hopefully he turns up. And if he does, he will almost certainly film it, I have no doubt, as well as the other acts and the main act. So hopefully I'll be able to get the footage off him. I'll try and record something. I'll try and record as well. But either way, yeah, that's going to go down tomorrow, Wednesday, because today's Tuesday, as of this recording. Yeah. It's, you know, I find it's good that we can find these things to do in these times. You know, doing these kinds of things really emphasizes it can keep you grounded, it can keep you anchored in something communally substantial, and you know, for those who are aiming down the path of expansion of consciousness and, you know, maximizing that, you will potentially get to the stage where there is very little that holds your attention, very little that is offered by this world in any way, shape or form that is of interest to you, or that you feel is worth your time, worth your doing. That it is all transient here, and that here everything is still mired in lower frequency for now, though that's changing. I haven't reached that stage. There have been days when I felt like that, but I haven't reached the stage where that is a constant state of being, to the point where I won't go do some stand-up comedy, where I won't do some teaching, where I won't run an AI club at one of the, you know, at Level Up on Wednesdays. You know, these are things to do that I feel I get something from still, I enjoy still, I see potential in growing some interesting things from still. But at the same time, I'm always in the understanding of the bigger picture of what's rolling out, and that whatever small waves I'm catching right here is, you know, in the shadow of the big wave that is coming. It's going to take us all, but until that is here, it's not here. When it's here, it'll be here, and then that conversation becomes very different then. But until that is here fully, undeniably for everyone, then there's still things we can do. It's down to you, really. It's your discretion as to what things are to do for you, because that's ultimately all it has to be. That's the core thing that changes of that is no longer will you do things for other people all the time and forget yourself. It will be the other way around. You will do things for yourself all the time And you'll struggle with forgetting about other people, which you should try not to do. The ones who are worthy of it. The ones who are worthy of. Yeah. Anyway, I'll wrap it up there. Half an hour. That's a nice, short, sweet one for a smoking lounge. I think that's good. So thank you, brothers and sisters. If you've watched up to this point, God bless you. Rest well. Be easy. And until the next time, this has been a Smoking Lounge pleasure production. Yeah, it was a bit cheesy though, wasn't it? Anyway, see you later.